you are in long-term recovery and you are heavily immersed in the treatment center
Yes.
world and everything.
Yeah, it's been an awesome journey. My journey started at Glenbeigh, so to be able to be there now and be a part of change is great.
Yeah. Today we are here with the Director of Operations at Glenbeigh Hospital, Donnie Reed. This will be a cool conversation. I have known Donnie for a very long time. My dad used to work at Glenbeigh, so I grew up walking around like I owned the place at Glenbeigh, and he knew me as a crazy little child. So I'm very excited to have Donnie on the pod today. So Donnie, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, it'll be a cool conversation. So, you are in long-term recovery and you are heavily immersed in the treatment center
Yes.
world and everything, and you love it. You're very passionate about it, which is really, really cool.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
how long have you been in recovery?
So 17 years, actually. Like you said, your dad was around. That brought you around to Glenbeigh, and him and I share actually the same month. We've been in recovery about the same time. So February 1st of 2009 is my anniversary, and yeah, it's been an awesome journey. My journey started at Glenbeigh, so um, to be able to be there now and be a part of change is great.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, what was life like? What were you, obviously, like, treatment wasn't the plan before all of that. Like, what were you thinking you were going to get into before you got into this field?
It's an interesting question because I don't think that I ever knew.
Mm-hmm.
I think, which is why, you know, when we look at some of the workforce stuff that's happening,
Mm-hmm.
both here at Hopetown and some different things that we're doing at Glenbeigh, um, I really didn't have any true goals really as what I wanted to do. I really didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people go through life just doing whatever they need to do to survive, to make a living, and not really knowing what it is that they want to do. So for me, um, it was really evident after going to treatment
Yeah.
that I wanted to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Being a part of that process, being around that, seeing the journey that those that helped me got to be on was really forged that path.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's incredible. So you started Glenbeigh at 2010?
yep,
Yeah. So let's talk about that, just the
2010.
process of all of that, where you've grown since.
So all I knew is that I wanted to help people.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, hey, you know what? I want to be a counselor. So I started going to school. While I was going to school, I started to see a gentleman that works at Glenbeigh, Brian Eliason, at school, and he's like, hey, um, you know, I feel like he kept talking to me here and there, and I felt like he was kind of watching. And then
Mm-hmm.
when the time came, he said, hey, do you want to work at Glenbeigh? And that kind of started the journey as a counseling assistant. And I was still going to school. Like I said, goal to be a counselor. And I got into a lead role and then a supervisor role, and then they just kept kind of piling it on. And
Mm-hmm.
it was, multiple departments, and I was pretty good at it. I really didn't know that at the time. I think, when I look back to my job history, um, you know, I would always do well wherever I was at
Mm-hmm.
until the drugs got in the way.
Yeah.
So, um, so I think that same motivation was there, but there was no interest,
Mm-hmm.
in the work. So again, took multiple roles and continued on down that path. Was thinking that I was just going to get a degree in social work and then kind of pivoted to healthcare operations. So I got my master's in healthcare administration, and that's kind of been the path.
Yeah. And it's cool because in your like intake, you're very passionate about what you do, and like you say, like you have the common sense for it. Like, and that sometimes in the healthcare world, it's not the typical common sense that like you would think of. Like, let's expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, me and our old CEO and still a mentor of mine, Pat Weston Hall. we used to joke all the time. We would sit in our office and we're, trying to solve some challenging problems, in the treatment world, and some of that being just decision making,
Mm-hmm.
just really simple decision making, and we used to always joke and say you can't teach common sense,
Mm-hmm.
and that differs in different professions, so and really what I mean by that in her world and in my world is just doing the right thing um, for the patient.
Yeah.
And sometimes that, if those motives are in, if that's your motive,
Mm-hmm.
just to do the right thing, then everything kind of works out from there. And just simple process stuff. Your dad's a process guy.
Mm-hmm.
Always just looking how to solve that next challenge of what's right in front of you. And, you know, been very fortunate to just see those things. And it's really, I always joke and say it's kind of a sickness. Like you see something and you're like, man, that could be better. And
Yeah.
you can't let it go,
Mm-hmm.
to where most people, a lot of people go through life and they're, yeah, well, that's not really the greatest way to do that, but I'm worried about this over here. Um, in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
any processes that I can change to,
Yeah.
and in the treatment world, it's funny because really when you talk about social workers, and that's where I started, and again, I just wanted to help people.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a big mind shift to go from I just want to help people to I want to create processes that help employees help people.
Yeah.
So to me, it took a little. It was hard to do that to get
Mm-hmm.
away from that direct patient care, and that was probably the thing I struggled with the most. But now being able to see those changes at a macro level, be able to provide an environment for people to help people is
Mm-hmm.
great. So
Yeah. And you really like just from when my dad was there and to now, like you guys shifted the environment a lot and changed and implemented so many things to, especially at the scale of Glenbeigh. Like that is a very large scale treatment center.
yeah,
It's not just a little one. Like you have improved things on a big level and you're continuing to improve wherever you can. And that takes a certain type of person. It's almost like my dad, like the OCD thing where you can use it to your advantage if
yeah,
like you do, like especially coming from like lived experience with the recovery side of it. Like there's a good side and a bad side to it, and
yeah.
once you figure out how to use it your way, it's an asset.
Yeah, and I think right now is an interesting time because there's tons of treatment centers that have opened
Mhm.
up. People want to access care differently. There's some what they'd say like on-demand stuff at home
Mhm.
happening. Medically assisted treatment, which how you do that sometimes differs. A lot more individuals maybe just wanting withdrawal management only. So being able to, as Glenbeigh, being able to stay, true to our model and be able to um, still be productive,
Mhm.
um, that's been an interesting process. For example, I think probably my first 7 or 8 years at Glenbeigh, we had a waiting list. And we were trying to, the challenge then was how do we continue to grow and make Glenbeigh still feel small, still
Yeah.
provide that care? And also, how do we um, get big enough to where people aren't literally waiting and dying to get in here?
Yeah.
So um, we were trying to tackle those challenges then. So with that became like some of my thought process was how do we bring in the right individual each day to get a nice census flow to be able we can take more people.
Mhm.
So for example, the withdrawal management process for someone who's going through withdrawal management for alcohol differs from opiates.
Mhm.
So um, in order to get that census to really flow and be able to take more people, do we manage this by, drug of choice? So those are some of the thought processes
Mhm.
back then, and now it's different because we're not quite as busy, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think we're really able to take a step back, um, you know, create some new programming and solve some challenges But the process now has been, how do we look at um, managing that census as far as when and how we discharge based on the need of the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because some things just started to happen organically. For example, because things have changed and our referral sources have kind of changed, we admit a bunch of people on like a Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
Well, so with withdrawal management, let's say that goes 3 to 4 days, they're getting out of withdrawal management on a Friday. The likelihood of them discharging from our facility on a Friday is probably pretty good. Everything from a UR management
Mm-hmm.
perspective goes in like 7 day intervals, kind of. So, but those of us that are in this world know that discharging an individual on a Friday is probably not the best outcome
Yeah.
for the individual leaving treatment. So so now taking a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's an interesting time. Things kind of switched a little bit, but also, like I said, we've been able to focus on some new things, like some workforce uh, options. We have a program now called Earn, Learn, Live, which was grant funded in 2024 from Appalachian Regional. Essentially, individuals that want to remain in recovery housing and enter this program. Um, it pays for their education and CDCA peer support or STNA.
Mm.
We take them for that education, and a lot of them are employed with us.
Wow, that's
So
incredible.
yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's cool to see how things change and grow and evolve throughout the years within the treatment world, but how you guys can adjust and better help the people like with those services, those workforce services. Like those are incredible and
Yep.
they're really helping people, which
Yep.
is great. Okay, let's go back a little bit and shift to things in your life that shifted. I know you talked about the passing of your father.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit and how that kind of helped you change your life and developed you into the person you are.
Yeah, I think because so much of my focus is work,
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes I really don't pay attention to too much of the personal. People ask me a personal life question. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it's not work related. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that came from my father passing was my whole life he worked so hard and he really wanted to. He always felt like there was more that needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter in what, whether it was work, home, but more so, home stuff. I got to take care of this, got to take care of that. And really it was just managing his assets and the things that he had and taking care of the house
Mm-hmm.
and all those things. But I can remember, him declining doing some things because there was stuff he had to take care of, quote
Mm-hmm.
unquote, take care of.
Yeah.
And in the end, what I thought about after he passed was how quick all of that is gone.
Yeah.
So for example, I know my mom hated it. He had a garage that he had every tool you could think of. I
Yep.
mean everything, and he hung on to a bunch of different stuff. And in the end, she can't. What's she gonna do with it all?
Yeah.
So in the end, all that stuff was gone in a matter of days, and you kind of step back and say, hey, you know, was all of this really that important, or is life about
Yeah.
experiences? So and my wife's been really helpful in that aspect. She always wanted to travel, so
Mm-hmm.
she kind of piqued that interest in me and our family. We travel a lot, and to me that's what it's about. It's about experiences.
Yeah.
So I tell my kids all the time, like there's no pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. I
Mm-hmm.
will take you on vacations and experiences your whole life. I don't
Yeah.
care how old you are. But I don't plan to leave some big pot of gold, because that's not what life is about.
No.
So it really, him passing and thinking about that really did change that perspective for
Mm-hmm.
me. I mean, I always like to travel, but it really made me sit back and think about what's really important. So
Yeah. And that is your family and appreciating the now of it all
yep,
and getting to see what you can.
yep.
And so, how many children do you have?
So I have four.
Yep.
Yep. Actually, my oldest is 21 today. Happy birthday,
Oh, happy
Karina. Yeah.
birthday.
So, that in itself is interesting. And
Yeah.
sometimes I wonder, she's been blessed with not having, I guess, my addictive personality. She last night we were having some conversations. I
Mhm.
had her over for dinner last night, and um, I think my mom was there. And mom's like, I would go have a drink with you at midnight. And she said, midnight? She said, I got to work in the morning at 6:30. She said, I'm not going anywhere. And I'm like, that wouldn't have been me at 21. It
Yeah.
wasn't me at 21.
Yeah.
So super grateful there.
Yeah, that's great that everything that you instilled in your kids now, like they don't, it's not like they're going searching for like, oh, it's my 21st birthday, let's go out and
Right.
rage. Like
Right.
it's like, I have stuff to do. I have responsibilities.
Yep.
Like there's more important things here. Like that can wait.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Maylee and Whitney are both 16, and then Jackson's 11. So my
Oh.
son's 11, and yeah, awesome. They're all in sports,
Mhm.
constantly busy.
Yeah.
Um, but they say you'll miss it when it's gone. Sometimes I'm
Mhm.
like, is it over yet? Right now we're kind of in a break period. Basketball is a really long season.
Yeah.
But right now we're kind of in a break. My daughter plays softball, which
Mhm.
is getting ready to ramp up. But yeah, so they keep me busy,
Yeah.
keep me grounded.
Good.
Um, Man, that's pretty much all I do now is you know work and transport kids to sporting events. So
Hey, that's the life.
yeah, it keeps me busy.
It's really, it's nice how you can shift like those major terrible things in your life, like your dad passing, into like really finding fulfillment in your family and your kids and your life and making that shift, because some people will just sit in it and just sit in that anger and that sadness and all of those emotions, and being able to shift your mind to like life isn't, like everything can be over so quickly, and like it's more about enjoying it and the experiences and all of those things, especially learning what you've learned in your recovery and stuff. Like it makes it so much more meaningful.
Yeah, we're lucky,
Mhm.
those of us who are in recovery, because when you think about, you know, at least I can speak for me, what I've been through, um, you know, that perseverance,
Mhm.
um, to me extends in other areas of my life. So I've rebuilt life over and over again.
Yeah.
So doing it without my father, yeah, is it fun? No. Do I miss him all the time?
Mhm.
Absolutely. But I know he was that type of man too, and I think about all the things that he instilled in me. He was. I can remember being in active addiction, and I'd be passed out on their couch, and he'd be getting up for work at 5:30 in the morning, whistling, putting on his work boots,
Mhm.
and I used to get so upset. I'm like, what does he have to be happy about?
Yeah.
Like my dad worked for the city, and you know, I would think that in the morning, like he's sitting there whistling, putting on his work boots. I would not be pleased, but I'm the same way now.
Yeah.
My kids, they really hate it. I get in the vehicle in the morning and I'll put on some positive
Yeah.
mindfulness podcast, and um, on the way to school to drop them off, they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, not again! Oh my gosh!" But
Oh, that's hilarious.
yeah, but that's important too.
Yeah.
When you look at how you're able to deal with
Mhm.
situations and deal with life, for me, it's what I'm taking in.
Yeah.
So uh, I haven't watched the actual news in probably 4 years. I
Mhm.
get some alerts come across my phone
Yeah.
sometimes, so I get kind of an idea of what's going on, but kind of seasoned to actually just turn it off
Mhm.
when it comes on.
Yeah.
And um, as far as social media, really LinkedIn's the only social media that I use. I don't want any of those distractions. I have my own life in front of me,
Yeah.
and it's helpful.
Mhm.
It really is.
I the mindfulness and like the podcasts and all of that of it all, it makes me laugh when your kids are like, "Oh my gosh," like
No.
'cause I was that same way. I remember taking a video when I was like 16 being like, if my dad sits here and talks to me about being grateful and mindfulness and blah blah blah, like I want to throw up. I can't take it. But now at 21, we're listening to those podcasts together because like they do shape you, and like those will leave a long-term effect on your kids. Like even though if they don't want to hear it now,
Yep.
like it's the longevity of it all where like finally once they start to develop a little bit more, they're gonna realize like, oh my gosh, dad was right with that.
Yeah, I
Like,
used to hear that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
oh my gosh, now I actually understand it and it's not just like this blah 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 in my ear.
Yep.
And so that'll be really cool.
Yeah, and it's neat to look back at, some of the stuff that you hear, and then I'll try to point it out.
Mhm.
I tell my son he's the type of person that he will spend 3 hours on a homework assignment, and then he'll go to school the next day and not turn it in. And I'm like, I don't know how you do that, um, but I would tell him like, listen, everything is habits. So if
Mhm.
you get in the habit of every day when you get into school, you sit down, open up your book bag, and grab your folder,
Mhm.
then you'll remember to turn your paper in.
Yeah.
So just little things like that, and that's all of what we hear. I mean, a lot of life's success is habits.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it's really refreshing to like hear how you've just continuously tried to grow and evolve and just it's not you're not done yet. This isn't the final like cut. Like it's you're always have room to get better and learn and grow and you have really centered your life around that,
yep,
which not a lot of people can.
yeah, I truly believe that there's only one person. I really believe I'm capable of so much more,
Mhm.
and try to continuously have that outlook. Um, but I truly believe that there's only one person that gets in the way of all the success that I want, and that's me.
Yeah.
So if you can really, accept that and really look at, everything that you can do to get better. There's lots of outside things are
Mhm.
going to happen that I can't control. However, I've had that belief from really early on, and we talked about that when I first got to Glenbeigh. Really, I sat back and your dad was a part of that as well. Um, I sat back and I was like, I was young, at the time. I got clean at 24.
Mhm.
So I was young and I was sitting back going, man, a lot of these people in these leadership roles here at Glenbeigh are, getting older.
Yeah.
So if this is a path and I knew that's where I wanted to be.
Mhm.
So I always tell, people that come in at an entry level position now in the field, I'm like, listen, there, it's not easy and it's not a very, well-paid job at the
Mhm.
beginning and things like that. And I would say, listen, I picked where I wanted to be, and then I tried to figure out how I can improve, get an education, and
Mhm.
figure out how to make money at it later. Um, Obviously, people have to live. I completely understand that, but
Yeah.
more importantly, I was where I wanted to be. So really early on, kind of kept that mentality, look back at what the landscape looked like, and then figured out how to get there. Education was part of that, but really looking at systems and
Mhm.
processes, and that's what I enjoy. So
Yeah, you forged your own path within it. You saw like that there was going to be some people dying out of the positions and you saw the problems that you could fix and you just got on it and
yeah,
did it.
yep, yep.
What do you think yourself in active addiction would think of you now, like where you're at and all that you've accomplished?
Man, I don't think I don't think that person thought that that was possible.
Yeah.
Um, Even I guess early on, um, that was part of it. I never really felt comfortable. um, I have an older brother.
Mhm.
Grew up around, older people. Really, like I said, I think early on, I really just didn't know what I wanted to do, what I want to be, what I was good at, all those
Mhm.
things. So, I'm grateful for all the trials and tribulations. Grateful for active addiction. I don't think that, you know, I would be near the person I am today had I not gone through all those things.
Yeah.
So I would hope that that person would be proud,
Yeah.
and hopefully it provides some. I guess, hope to other individuals. So
Mhm.
our field is made up of a ton of people that's how their journey started.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Um, Not all of them make to that level, and it's very difficult too because there's also uh, there's also a political side,
Mhm.
of healthcare,
Yeah.
and who we want in those roles, and rightfully so. So, with that past, um, that plays a challenge too. I remember when we were speaking about the podcast,
Mhm.
and one of the questions is, is there anything you're not comfortable talking about? And I did a podcast in the past where,
Mhm.
you know, I spoke about some things that I had to pause and say, you know what, I don't know that I really want that in there
Yeah.
because, um, the direction that I want to head, that I
Yeah.
want to go, will that hinder me from the wrong person
Mhm.
hearing that? But, you know, in reality, the person that I was, in active addiction is not who I am today. In fact, it shaped my
Yeah.
motivation, it shaped my drive, it shaped my
Mhm.
loyalty, all those things to this field. So,
Yeah. You would not be who you are today without those
yep,
mistakes and lessons
yep,
learned.
correct.
Wow. Well, I have enjoyed this conversation. Now let's ask you your few little last five. Okay, what is a grounding quote or phrase? And then you put lost dreams awakened.
hmm
Let's expand on that.
Um, it's actually a quote out of basic text,
Mm,
and um, it's lost dreams awaken, new possibilities arise, and it's something that was just always stuck with me.
yeah.
I always wanted to be. Again, I told you that I didn't really know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be,
Hmm.
what I wanted to do for a career, but I knew I wanted to be better than I was.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what that means is,
Hmm.
hey, I want to live a nice life and be a good father, be a good leader. I want to be that person that people can count on.
Yeah.
So to me, that was the dream. It's just
Hmm.
being that person. So, um, that's really what that means to me.
Cool. Inspiring song, book, quote, or film. You said not anything specific. I love anything leadership related.
Yeah. It's funny because we'll go as a family. Sometimes we'll go to Barnes and Noble, and
Hmm.
I'm in the
Yep.
leadership section. I'm just, you know, even today, on my way here, that's the type of stuff that I listen
Yeah.
to. So, yeah, nothing specific. Just making sure that it's positive and it's
Hmm.
something meaningful to to what I'm working
Yeah.
on, or towards life in
Yeah.
general. So, I don't. I love lots of music, lots of books, lots of movies,
Hmm.
but to me, if I had to look at a direction or a
Yeah.
genre, if you would, it would
Hmm.
be leadership. So,
Okay. Yeah, when me and my dad just this weekend we went to the Arnold and we were talking whatever, and then I had listened to this podcast with Chris Bumstead. He's bodybuilder, top guy, whatever, but he speaks very similar to like the recovery world where, and so I was like, dude, you got to listen to this podcast. And like so we're just listening on the way up, and he's like, I can't believe like this is what we're doing right now, like listening to like that style of podcast on the way up. Like he's like, I couldn't ask for anything better. Like this
right,
is this is great.
right.
Um, influential person, Pat Westonhall. Let's talk about her.
Yeah. So, I think we all look at, different areas in our life where people trusted us
Hmm.
to not only give opportunity, but also trusted us to work through mistakes.
Yeah.
And she was that person. Again, she was the CEO for Glenbeigh for a very long time, and I had the opportunity to work under her. It's interesting, depending on who you talk to. The best way I can describe it is she was tough but fair.
Yeah.
So she had expectations, and those expectations led towards Glenbeigh's success. But she also you know would quick to put you in your place, but she was extremely
Hmm.
fair. So her leadership style was excellent for me. She gave me opportunities. And she trusted in me. She took chances on me, and because of her, uh, that's where my kind of career started.
Mhm.
So, and she's still a mentor of mine. So, yeah, she, like I said, very successful,
Yeah.
and a person who put a lot of trust in me. And at that time, I really didn't. I didn't have a ton of that. I can remember the first job that I took in recovery where they gave me keys to this warehouse, this
Mhm.
flooring place, and thinking, you must not know me very well.
Yeah.
And then, looking back at it now, what was I going to do? Like steal all the pallets of flooring? You know,
You could
um,
have.
could have, right? But so, and then she was the next individual that, like I said, took chances,
Mhm.
allowed me to kind of run with some things. She saw something in me that I really couldn't see yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who that is.
Cool. She's cool. She's great.
Yep,
I remember her from those days.
absolutely.
Okay, daily habit or practice. And you said no news, no social media besides LinkedIn. Try to listen to something positive every day.
Yep, yeah, and that's pretty much what we talked about. And it's something that I've been able to do. Um, it's and it's really changed a lot for me because it's easy. I watched some people during COVID, during political
Mhm.
times, really kind of go down these rabbit holes of just being upset with life in general based on what they're taking in. So it's kind of my mission then to be careful what I was taking in and deal with what's right in front of me and keep everything
Mhm.
that I was taking in positive. And it does. It changes. I mean, think about you know, couldn't identify one, but you think about it like a positive song. There's this real corny song called Sunday's Best
Mhm.
that, you know, you hear it as soon as it comes on, it kind of just puts you in a good mood.
Yeah.
So, same thing with what I'm taking in. I'm very deliberate about that, and you know, kind of helps me stay grounded. So,
Yeah. That's amazing because I mean, especially in today's world, that's not the most common thing to there's at least some sort of social media or some sort of news outlet that you're keeping up with,
yep,
and it can be depressing
yeah,
and really bring you down. So I really like that you do that.
yep,
And then one word that describes you today is motivated. Damn
yeah,
right.
yeah. I think that's the key. It's easy to kind of get stuck in a rut,
Hmm.
and when things slow down, like for example, we just went through a survey process with Joint Commission, and you know, basically preparing and preparing, and as it gets closer to
Hmm.
time, it consumes more of your time. When that was over, there's a little lull there where everybody's like, "Oh, I'll get some of my day back."
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing with that? Is what's most important. It's a really interesting time for me at the moment because um, I'm not your young anymore, but I'm still young, in the field as far as at least Glenbeigh, where some of our leaders are, and so my eyes to technology,
Hmm.
specifically AI and
Hmm.
different processes and things are, I would say, a little more open,
Yeah.
and so now my mind can move even faster. That's the scary part. It's
Yeah.
like, now all the information that I was compiling on a piece of paper or in my
Hmm.
head and trying to convince people um, that this is a direction or this is what's going on. Now I can do it, in a couple minutes,
Yeah.
and say, hey, here's the information. But now I feel like the information's coming too fast.
Yeah.
So it's like, uh, for other individuals.
Yeah. It can be overwhelming.
Yeah. So, really being, and I think I did identify this. I think one of my main goals now is like being able to be patient,
Hmm.
because there's lots I want to do, lots I want to change. I and right now, things are moving fast, but just being able to be patient, be understanding,
Hmm.
and work together to create that change. So
Yeah. That's great. Like you really it's not just like the clinical side of it where it's not as heartfelt. Like you have a passion for this and you have lived it as well. It's like you know how it goes and you've been in the industry for so long where you see the ins and outs and what could be fixed and what could just stay the same. But you really have a passion for it, which is going to help people and change lives. And I think that people are going to resonate with this a lot.
Yep.
So, yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I loved chatting with you.
Yes, thank you.
And yeah, I think this is going to be, people are really going to enjoy this.
Awesome.
Cool.